Fantastic, Arn. I appreciate you sharing that with us. And listen, the thing is, we've got to get to this lightning round of the going long final three. The thing is, I never ask anybody though, Arn, unless you tell me that you're ready for me to ask you the going long final three, the lightning round. Are you ready?
I'm ready. All
right. I knew you would be. So here we go. So we started with you over on that side of the pond, and I like to bring it back on this side of the Atlantic now. So help us understand, what is your favorite European city that you've either visited or is still on your bucket list to visit?
I visited, and I would say it's Florence, Italy. So I'm of Italian descent. My grandparents came here, and Florence, when you think about Michelangelo and Galileo and Da Vinci, and they were all there at that same place at that same point of time, and kind of the impact they had on human civilization. Not to mention the River Arno is there. So maybe that's where my first name came from. So Florence is a great town. We hope to get back soon. And so I would say that's my favorite city. My girlfriend's favorite city is London. So she loves London. Yes.
All right. So she loves London, and she's going to listen to this. So, hey, listen, shouts out to your girlfriend.
Give her a shout out. Yes.
All right. But you vote for Firenze, which is perfect. So
yes.
All right. Sounds great. So listen, question number 2. And the thing is, Arn, here. So this is like one of the things that I've recognized from really successful people, because I have been very, very fortunate to have met a lot of successful people in my life. And I get to see a lot of successful people like yourself here on the podcast. And this is just kind of one of the things that we do, but also in the goal of sharing with others. One of the things that I've noticed about really successful people, and the reason that they tend to be very successful, is because they, like so many other people, or unlike so many other people, they typically don't make any mistakes, which is what allows them to get further. They're just... I get all nervous when I usually ask that question. No, it's kind of a joke. That's an inside joke with me and the Going Long family. It's a Going Long family joke.
People
it's
actually do make mistakes.
Yes. You know what? But here's the reality, Arn. And we kind of joke about this, right? Every week, somebody's running on their treadmill, laughing, going, "Arn is doing this," and but anyway. The reality is I do get a chance to meet and speak with a lot of very, very successful people. And one of the things that I have found is that successful people typically make a lot of mistakes, like way more mistakes than most people, a whole lot more mistakes than most people. But the reality is that very successful people do one thing very, very, very differently. And this is what sets them apart, is that they typically stop every single time and learn from the mistake so that they don't make the same mistake twice, right? And they put different steps in place to mitigate and minimize the chances of that ever happening again. So if you could think of not the mistake or the learning opportunity, or however you want to describe it, but most importantly, Arn, what was the one lesson that you learned that you know is going to make a massive positive impact on the entire Going Long family today, so that they get closer to their goals much faster? What's that one lesson you want to share with us?
You can't do it all yourself.
Love it.
They say multifamily investing is a team sport. I think you got to associate with the right people who have the right skills. And as I first got into multifamily real estate and syndication on the general partner side, I didn't have my right team put together. I was still missing one or two aspects that I needed. And it resulted in a lack of confidence for me to proceed. Where if I had properly put together the team initially, I could have taken down some of those opportunities earlier than I did. So I think the thing I learned is build your team first, then go out, find the deal, get the right team put together, and then that will lead you to the next step. Where if you try to cut a step and you don't quite have your right team put together, I think you're going to run into trouble.
Fantastic. So make sure that you are building the right team. Once again, coming back to one of the things we talked about in the very beginning, is being able to effectively leverage the efforts of others in order to move forward closer to your goal. So once again, great lesson learned. And I appreciate you sharing that with me and the entire Going Long family, which brings us to the Going Long question number 3, the final 3. is I always love for you to help us understand how we can feed the mind. So what is the one book, Arn, that you would recommend to the Going Long family today?
Well, the one I'm reading now is Imagine Heaven. So my family has recently suffered a loss, and I'm not a religious guy, but it's a fascinating book to kind of think about what heaven may actually be and kind of what really is our purpose here on earth. So that's what I'm reading now, and I'm finding it fascinating, and it fits what I need at the moment.
Fantastic. So number one, I appreciate your vulnerability, sharing that with us. And then number two, helping us once again with Imagine Heaven, how we can continue to feed the mind, feed our souls, and also being able to look for, continuously looking for new ways to understand our purpose here on this earth. So
precisely.
You know what? I'm actually just thinking about from the very beginning of this conversation, and you were talking to us about your undergrad work, and then being able to go from there to a family business, and then from there to not just focusing on residential sales, but also property management. From there, you then talked about how you got into the income producing assets. You started realizing, well, hey, listen, I'm on this side of the equation, and that's really cool because I can create income. But wow, I'm really understanding that it's the investor side that is generating wealth, and I kind of want to be on the other side. And so you took these years of experience in working with many people that were investing in properties, and you were in California and Silicon Valley before the boom even happened. You saw this 40 or 50 or 60X kind of happen. And then you decided also too for your life. And I think this is so key for so many people, because everything is not just about money. You made a life decision to go from one coast to the other, to go for a higher quality of life. And also we're riding an economic boom in the area of the place that you're living in the United States. Since then, you've continued to invest. As you mentioned, you use the tools of the stock market. You've also gotten involved more on the investment side of real estate and done seven limited partnerships. You're now you're on the other side of the table for general partnerships with Spark Investment Group, and you're helping others to be able to bring their goals, their dreams to you, so that you can also help realize those for other people. And I know in the way that you're doing things and the way that you've explained this and given us not just strategy, but tactical examples of how others can go about doing that. I know that so many people in the Going Long family are thinking to themselves, Arn is super awesome, cool. And I actually want to get in touch with him. I want to find out more about what he's doing, more about Spark Investment Group. So help us understand, Arn, what's the best way for the Going Long family to find out more about you and get in touch?
Yeah, I'm on Facebook and LinkedIn. Website is investwithspark.com. So it's pretty simple. My email is arn@investwithspark. So reach out. Be happy to have a conversation about real estate or just life. I'm talking to a client later today who lives in the Bay Area, and her and her husband are thinking of making a life transition, an adventure. I'm excited to talk about her. And I think, to a certain degree, you just got to go for it, right? A very wise counselor once told me, you can't know the answers. You can only live the questions.
Wow.
So
great.
It's kind of get out there and live and try it, and the answers will reveal themselves by living them. Yep.
I love that. So invest with Spark. You can check it out. Going Long family. Also, Arn at Invest with Spark, I believe you said. We're going to include that in the show notes, the way to get in touch with you. And I would also ask the one thing, especially with Going Long family, and you all know this already, but when you reach out to Arn on LinkedIn, make sure that you let him know that you heard Arn and I speaking here on the Going Long podcast. It's just going to help the two of you connect much faster because you both have a point of reference. Make that a personalized invitation when you send it to him on LinkedIn. So
I appreciate that.
Yeah, sure. Arn, listen, I really appreciate you investing your time with me and the entire Going Long family. Thanks so much for today's conversation. Really appreciate it.
Hey, thank you. Great to meet you. Love your energy.
All right. Fantastic. Thanks so much.